Yeah, my name is Maurizio and I met Yopi for the first time in the 90s. We were colleagues at SBS, but we had not spoken much to each other until a fateful early morning when we had an argument in the newsroom. It was my fault. I know it was my fault because Yopi told me so. I was tasked with compiling and presenting the 8 o'clock news bulletin for the Italian program, and I needed to record some audio grab from an Italian station. I'm talking about the infancy of the internet, so back then we needed a satellite receiver. And the only quarter-inch tape recorder connected to the satellite receiver was busy, and it was not monitored. So I tried to look around to find who was using the tape, and I couldn't find anyone. So at the end, I decided to just remove the tape, put my own tape on, record the grabs I needed, and then I took this stuff to the studio, and I can't follow the script, I don't know why. And I took the tape to the studio, and I went live with the news bulletin, and finally I returned to the newsroom, and to my surprise and fear, I discovered that the tape that I took off the tape recorder was actually Yopi's, who was rather furious with me and made it quite clear. So once I came back, Yopi insisted with me that it was a smoke break was a very good reason to leave the tape unattended. In fact, it was possibly the only good reason for it. We had an argument and later ended up apologizing to Yopi for messing up her recording. See, now though I'm not totally convinced it was entirely my fault, but you see, even when Yopi was screaming at me and calling for names, I liked Yopi. I always did. Yopi was quick, fun, unconventional. Her energy was so very appealing to me. More often than not, Yopi was an avalanche with a talent for pushing things right to the limit. Jockey don't know, Yopi could be brutal when dressing down people, me included. But she was never quite as brutal as when she was self-deprecating. The woman had no fear of anyone, no fear of what people thought, not even fear of letting her guard down and direct the harshest judgment towards herself. Yopi being Yopi, we became more friendly after the argument, as if the fight had been a way to break the ice and relate to each other way more directly. Does it sound like Yopi to you? Because that's very much Yopi to me. Years later, I ended up holding a few managerial positions at SBS, and for some time, I was also responsible for the content output of the Dutch language program that was headed by Yvonne, who is with us today, obviously. I loved the Dutch program. Yvonne was so very sensible and organized, and everything worked beautifully. Yopi was her usual avalanche, as talented as undisciplined. Yvonne and I would meet fortnightly to discuss anything Dutch on air and later online, and it was great. I was devastated though, when Yvonne decided to dump Yopi and myself and leave SBS for a car dealership. It was humiliating and heartbreaking. The only consolation I haven't forgotten you, by the way. The only consolation for me was that I ended up talking to Yopi way more often. In fact, I quickly discovered that Yopi did not really need a scheduled fortnightly meeting to talk to me, and that a fortnight is a long time anyhow. Her desk was just a few meters outside my office, and whenever she felt like it, Yopi had no problem just walking in and making herself comfortable on the couch. At times, Yopi would do so when I was on the phone, and she would patiently wait for me to get off the phone and pay her the attention she obviously demanded. I had no problem accepting that from Yopi, maybe because I knew it was going to be entertaining, maybe because in the end, I liked Yopi. I always did. As unpredictable as Yopi could be, the basic structure of our meetings, improvised or not, would be remarkably consistent. It was pretty much a 3-act affair. We would start updating each other on our personal business. I learned later on that this is considered to be a good technique to create empathy. Frankly, I had no idea. I was just having a fun chat with a delightful, spirited woman. She would tell me about summer. I would tell her about my kids, Luca and Bianca. Our kids, by then, were the undisputed center of our lives. After that, we would talk about content and SBS editorial strategy and what the Dutch program had to contribute to it. Now, in total honesty, I never had to stress much about it because Yopi was in the habit of lifting great story and turning them into highly engaging content. And natural talent. But there were often things I would require of her that she had no intention to deliver whatsoever. So we would argue over my foolish demand, and at the end we would reach a compromise. Basically, I would allow her to do whatever she wanted to do. At the end of each chat, we would wrap up with my usual overbearing demand that she would at least stop smoking. I'd been terrified earlier on when bits of Yopi's lung had been unnecessarily cut off after a botched diagnosis. Yopi, of course, rejected my reasoning and somewhat indicated that she resented me for telling her to stop, basically telling her what to do, which was very normal, a very good thing to do with Yopi. Nevertheless, I'm not sure she meant it. I suspect she was pleased that I care. I think she knew the truth, that I liked Yopi. I always did. Only a few months ago at her place, we ended up talking about smoking again. This time we didn't argue. And she kept reminding people the possibility of lung cancer by then was not very high on her agenda. Instead, Yopi asked me if I were able to roll an hypothetical joint. I confess I would not have been particularly skilled at it. So after we finished not rolling the joint, we spoke about our kids. We discussed how getting older, when the possibility of an early departure is no longer so remote, we just want to ensure that they are going to be okay. That they can cope without our support, that they can be happy and fulfill their potential even when we're no longer around to witness it. When we said goodbye, we agreed to see each other in a few months. In fact, Yvonne and I agreed on a date. But the day before we were meant to meet, Yopi ended up again in hospital. The visit was cancelled, and I missed my chance to see Yopi again. Yopi was lovely though, in keeping in contact with me and many others, as we kept chatting on Messenger until her final days. I feel those last-minute messages were the last gift to us. To make us feel we each played a role in her life. It was a generous thing to do, even though I'm still trying to make sense of losing her. I miss you. I always will.